YouTube, what it do? It's your boy Dan, and today we're going to be going over order blocks and just the basics on how to identify these order blocks as well. It's extremely important, especially if you want to be a smart money concept trader. You have to be able to identify order blocks. So, of course, you can take some trades. So, you have two types of order blocks. You have supply and you have demand. Now, I'll write this down. I want you to write this down too. A supply zone, so here, is going to consist of a bullish candle followed by a bearish candle. And a demand setup is going to consist of a bearish candle followed by a bullish candle. So, what exactly are order blocks? What exactly are these? So, as we know, the central banks control the markets and they allow us to, of course, take trades and make profits and whatnot. But what order blocks are the supply and demand zones. Like for right here in this example, we have a nice supply zone. And we see how price breaks structure. The only people that can break structure are the institutions. We, as retail traders, are never going to be able to break structure. So what order blocks are, it's an order that is set to break structure, to grab liquidity. Because at the end of the day, they need liquidity to make its moves. They need to grab orders as much as possible to make the biggest moves possible at all times. So as we see, what I have boxed up right here is a supply candle followed by a what? Bearish candle. We have this nice bullish candle followed by this bearish candle right here. As we see, price breaks structure. So what do we have now? We have a nice order block, right? And we also have a series of order blocks down here as well. We have this order block right up here. We have this order block right down here as well. And as we see, what are these zones? These are all supply zones because why? We have a bullish candle followed by bearish candle. Bullish candle, bearish candles. Bullish candle, bearish candles. When you're identifying supply and demand, you have to be able to recognize these little things. And there's also an indicator called the order block indicator. And I'll show you this right here by nephew Sam. This is a very, very useful indicator. So definitely if you have issues with, excuse me, identifying order blocks, I strongly suggest, excuse me again, goodness gracious, that you get the order block indicators by nephew Sam. And as you're able to use these indicators, it's going to highlight every single order block in the market for you. Now, if you want to be a trader, you cannot rely on this indicator. You solely cannot rely. You can only use this as a tool to help you identify the order blocks faster, right? So it helps you out with the process of getting it done faster, identifying what you need to identify faster. And at the end of the day, money loves speed. Now, you never, like I said, you never want to rely on it because sometimes the order block indicator may not indicate an order block sometimes, and it's up to you to be able to identify that order block. So as we see right here, we have our beautiful examples, and I just want to show you how price reacts just off of these zones real quick. So I'm gonna get the play button right here. And as we see, price tapped into this beautiful supply zone. And what did price do as it tapped into this beautiful supply zone? It decided to do what? Start selling. So the purpose of trading supply and demand is literally you're trying to mirror what price did before. So as we see right here, the supply zone was created, it broke structure. What are you trying to mirror? Price doing what? Selling, breaking more structure, definitely trying to target the low possibly, or whatever your set risk to reward is. You're really trying to mirror what happened in the past. Now, I always say this: you don't always have to catch the whole entire move. You just need to catch some of the move. So that's why it's very important to find out your set risk to reward ratio and how you're going to execute these trades as well. It's very, 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 very important that you identify how you are going to enter and exit out of these setups. Sometimes I may go in aggressively, sometimes I may not. And that's up to you. And you need to add that to your trading plan on how you want to execute consistently and do the same thing over and over and over and over again so you can get the results you want trading this strategy. So as we see right here, price taps into the order block and it definitely starts to what? Sell back down. Now let's see what happens eventually. Boom. You see how price just broke in this structure, just like price did over here, right? As we see, price formed a supply zone, broke structure, like you know, price was just creating more liquidity, tapped right back in and retested the zone. And as it retested the zone, excuse me, what happened right here? Price decided to do what? Sell all the way right back down, taking out this side of liquidity down here. As it takes out this side of liquidity, look what we have now. We have more supply zones that were formed. And price even on this zone right here. And look how price rejected off of the zone. So pretty much the whole idea is to mirror what's going on and mirror what happened within the market. That's very, very important that you, of course, understand just what a supply zone is and what a demand zone is. Which I'm going to show you all an example of what a demand zone looks like. But as we see right here, we always want to be able to identify the supply zone. And of course, you want to identify how are you going to execute the trade once price gets up to the supply zone. Because that's up to you because, of course, I'm not going to be the one executing the trade. You are. So it's always up to you to figure out how are you going to execute the trade. That is extremely important, and you must figure that out. So the next thing we have is right here. We have this supply zone, and with this supply zone, what do we have? We have a nice break of structure once again. Now, in this example, the order block indicator did not indicate this order block right here. So that's why I always say it is up to you to be able to identify these zones. It's very important that you are able to identify these zones and you're not relying on the indicator to identify these zones. You never want to do that. So let's see what happens when price keeps going. Okay, so as price rejected off of the zone, it started to, of course, break past. So now the zone is invalid because why? Price did what? It rejected. As soon as it retested the zone, now it blasted right through. Now, as it blasted right through, we have another supply zone right here. And we have another supply zone up here as well, too. That's why I always say it's very important that you're able to identify these zones without using the indicator as well. But let's just see what happens. Let's see what price does. Oh, wow. It missed it. And that's sometimes what happens. Sometimes price will get near the order block and then definitely start going right back down or going right back up, depending what the setup is. But that's okay. But look what happened. Look what price decided to do. It decided to form a new supply zone. So as price decided to form a new supply zone and it formed a new one right here, let's just see what happens to these zones. Let's see what price decides to do. Okay, so price, I'm gonna go back. Price retested this zone, rejected well. It tried to mirror it a little bit, but it really couldn't get the job done, especially like down here. That's why it's also important that you build a nice system around this if you're definitely going to be trading with order blocks and you have your own confluences. So, of course, the more confluences, the better for your trading setups. These are just examples of what order blocks are and whatnot. So, do not just trade order blocks by itself. Please don't. That's why I have my mentorship program. So, you will not be in danger. So let's take a look at what happens right here. Okay, so price retest this zone, and as it retested this zone right here, it literally did the same thing. It got a nice little down move, just a little bit, not nothing too crazy, nothing too spectacular, and then it started to fly right back up. Now we have this zone right here. Price did retest the zone, and I'll show you where it retested it at right here, and then started to reject just a little bit as we see. But as it rejected just a little bit, it didn't do too much of a make too much of a move, to be honest. So we have this supply zone right here. So let's see what happens. Let's see what price does. Let's see if price gets up there. Okay, so price did eventually get back up, but it blasted right through it, took some liquidity out, and shot all the way right back down, making that a nice liquidity grab. Then as we see, onto the next thing, right, with demand, we have a nice demand zone right here. And this is a nice demand setup. We have a nice bearish candle followed by a bullish candle. So we have these bearish candles right here, along with the bullish candle. So it's exactly what you want to see. Exactly what you want to see, 100%. So as we see, what do we have right here with this demand? We have this nice bullish candle. It's really impulsive. Price breaks past structure. It retests the zone immediately and then starts to fly. Just a little bit. And then from there, what does price do? Because this is real time right now as well too. Now it's starting to consolidate in the zone. So now price can either retest this swing low, and at the swing low, we have a nice demand zone right here, or price can definitely break through, sweep it, and go right back up. Who knows what price may want to do, or just even retest this zone right here. Now, I'm going to show you all some great examples of demand. And I want to start off with this example right here. I want you all to see this. As we see, we have this nice demand right here. And it's literally the same thing I was referring to before. You want to see that what? The bearish candle followed by the bullish candle. And as we see, we box it up, we box up the whole entire zone. And that is also another important thing. Anytime you're looking at supply and demand, you want to box up the whole entire candle, either the whole entire supply candle or the whole entire demand candle. Every single time. There's no shortcuts. So let's see what price does as it retests the zone. Boom. So it retested the zone. And as soon as it retested the zone, it really started to reject strong. Now it's really pushing up pretty aggressively now. So let's see where price goes. Look at that. Look at that beautiful move. Look at that. Just look at that. Now it's literally mimicking what price did in the past. As we see, order block was formed and broke structure. It taken this high out right here. It broke past this high, formed a new swing high up here. Then what does it do? It retests the zone. As it retests the zone, it's literally forming a new swing high right now as we speak. I'm gonna zoom in so you all can see. Now, it never really fully broke structure on the 15-minute time frame. Probably on the 5-minute, we have a full break of structure, possibly. But as we see on the 15-minute, it's a nice sweep, but a new high is still formed because as you see, this is the highest point. The swing high is the highest point. And if you're looking at a swing low, like I showed you all with Euro USD, that's the lowest point as we see. So very important information to know what swing highs and swing lows are. And I'll make another video on that. But today I just wanted to show you all just the basics of order blocks. And as we see right here, let me get my box. Where's the box at? Boom. We have a nice demand zone right here. We have a nice demand zone right here. And we also have a nice demand zone right here. Now, we really want to see what price will do when we get to these demand zones. I don't know what it's going to do, of course, because I can't control the market. And of course, if I could, I would tell you all we'd be multi-trillionaires as we speak. But in the meantime, anytime you're looking at demand, you always want to see that bearish candle followed by that bullish candle every single time. And as we see right here, we have this bearish candle followed by this bullish candle. Same thing again, bearish candle followed by the bullish candle, bearish candle followed by the bullish candle. You want to box the whole entire zone up. So anytime you may see me post a trade and whatnot, you may see like a big box and let's say I'm entering in a trade aggressively or however else I'm entering in the trade. You're gonna notice how I'm boxing up the zones because all I'm doing is boxing up the either of course the supply or demand zone. I'm literally taking the candle and getting the whole entire candle plus the wick a little bit if there's like a little bit of a outside wick as we see right here as it of course exceeds itself just a little bit. But that's the most important thing we want to do is be able to identify zones as fast as possible. That's why you have the order block indicator, but you also want to know this for your own prior knowledge. So you're not relying on Mr. Indicator for assistance because that's the last thing, to be honest, that you really want to rely on. Now, it's nothing wrong with using an indicator. It's nothing wrong because I sometimes use this myself because, of course, I can identify things faster. I take trades myself and I also send signals as well. So, of course, I'm going to have to do things as fast as possible with speed. So, in the meantime, I just wanted to show you all how to do that and also box up these supply and demand zones. And of course, it's all about you creating your system out of this to, of course, get the results that you want. So I'm going to show you all just a few more examples right over here. So as we see right here, excuse me, what do we have? We have a nice demand zone right here. We have a nice bearish candle, followed by these bullish candles right here. Nice break of structure. Price breaks past, as we see, it breaks past the what? The high, forming a new swing high. So let's see what happens when price gets down to this zone. As it gets down to this zone, what does price decide to do? It decides to do what? Shoot all the way right back up. It's trying to do what? Mimic what happened right here when the demand zone was formed. So let's see what happens what price keeps deciding to do. It's forming new demand zones as we speak, as price is even going right back up. And we have a demand zone right here as well, too. We can't forget this. Can't forget this demand zone right here. But it gets blasted through. And that's totally fine. But in the meantime, look what happened when price blasted through the zone. Not only it retested this demand zone again and blasted through this, but price retested this demand zone right here. Now you probably wonder, why didn't the order block indicator indicate that? Well, that's why I said it's very vital and very important that you're able to identify these zones yourself so you're not relying on an indicator telling you what to do. And you already know what to do for yourself. You're just using the indicator as help so it can identify zones faster. So as we see, same principles right here. Price breaks structure numerous times. As we see, breaks past all these highs, or takes out this high up here, breaks past this high, then price does what? Retest the zone, and it literally tries to mimic what this demand zone did. Watch. I call supply and demand honestly like the mirror strategy because it literally tries to mirror what happened. And look what it did. It's mirroring what happened. And look what price did as it broke structure and of course started to of course get a nice little pull back in and whatnot. Look what happens. We'll click play. What do we have right here? We have new demand zones. with new demand zones that are formed right here. So let's see what happens when price decides to get to these zones. It may get blasted through, it may retest and make a sharp move. We don't know. Let's see what happens. Wow, it blasts through this zone right here, and then retest this zone right here. And then what does it decide to do? It decides to retest, make a strong rejection candle as we see. I'm gonna zoom in so you all can see this because I really want you to see this. And it starts to do what? Try to mimic what the demand zone did at first when the demand zone was formed. So let's click play. Let's see what happens. And then, of course, price retested this demand zone right here and decided to do what? Just retest it and reject a little bit. Then price then retest this order block again. Look what price does. Mimics the exact move every single time. And this is the same exact order block I boxed up earlier, same demand zone. And then literally all it does is just try to mimic what price did every single time. But other than that, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Like, comment, and subscribe. Most definitely. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me on my Instagram or my Telegram channel. And I hope you all enjoy this video. Share it, of course. And stay tuned for the next video. And here's my Instagram as well. So definitely put this in. If you got a question for me, feel free to DM me any point in time. And here's my Telegram channel as well right here. So definitely, if you need to contact me on Telegram, here it is right here. Other than that, like, comment, subscribe, and see you all soon.